U.S. sailors are under arrest accused of providing sensitive national security information to China.
A U.S. Navy engineer and his wife caught in an FBI sting, accused of trying to sell secret information on America's nuclear subs to a foreign power.
I believe that there is great suspicion here that we, A, have the dumbest chief petty officer in the entire United States Navy that somehow made it across faster than I have. On top of that, I do believe that the military is looking to try and silence as much of this as possible because it seems that the secrets and some of the information that's out there, they cannot contain. I have several thoughts and reasons why on this specific case and various others as well. Navy Times report says Navy chief could face severe sentence if convicted of espionage. And this is by Jeff Z, which is a notable writer over there and has obviously covered various topics in great detail. Jeff writes, news this week that a Navy chief is facing espionage charges for allegedly passing classified information to a foreign government contact highlights the rarity of such cases in the military justice system, even as civilian legal analysts warn that Chief Fire Controlman Aegis Brian Stephen Pedicini could face a severe sentence if convicted. I do want to annotate here that he is a fire controlman, Aegis specific. It's now a different rate or MOS, occupation, whatever you want to call it, within the Navy. And these people deal with these systems that are allowed to fire and attack enemies. And having detailed information on these weapon systems would be a huge advantage of understanding of their capabilities, of what brings them up, what has put them down, if they are in commission right now, what are their problems that they're facing on those internal scales, and knowing, because the platform that he's on is what is very important to the South China Sea, and especially where he was stationed at. When Pedicini will have his day in court remains unclear. The Navy's public court docket shows a motion hearing took place on Wednesday of this week, but Naval Surface Forces officials declined to say what that hearing entailed when asked by Navy Times Thursday. And I do want to say that's because of the sensitivity in my speculation of he was stationed in Yokosuka, Japan, which it's been known that the U.S. Navy has had a massive presence. And when you're talking about firepower, capability, 7th Fleet Japan, it's like, let's not put any feelers out there for any kind of media or social media to have any understanding of what's actually going on or to hint off onto our adversaries as well. He also declined to say why Pedicini was being tried in the military justice system. Other U.S. sailors charged and convicted in the past year for giving sensitive military information to Chinese officials were prosecuted by the U.S. Justice Department. They say we don't have any additional information to pass at this time about yesterday's hearing, and we don't discuss internal legal deliberations and discussions about case jurisdictions, Abrahamson said in an email Thursday. Potential future hearings will be listed in the Navy's public court docket. What became clear this week is that espionage charges under the Uniform Code of Military Justice, or UCMJ, have been rare in the Navy in recent years. The Navy said it had no records of a sailor being charged for espionage, Article 103A of the UCMJ, in at least the past 5 years. And I will say jurisdiction here was important was because if you look at those past instances with those Chinese sailors that did release information, they were not stationed in Japan, which I believe would create some jurisdictional issues here if the Department of Justice would take place versus the Department of Defense. Those members that were leaking information to Chinese entities and made, I think, like $15,000, which was really not much at all. One of them was in Port Hueneme, and another was at another location. I forget right now, maybe San Diego. So that might have a delineating factor of why they were being tried by DOJ versus DOD. While the maximum sentence for a specification of espionage is death, Hansel noted that will not apply in this case as Pedicini was not charged with espionage as a capital offense, but the chief faces 8 specifications of espionage according to his charge sheet. For each of these espionage charges and for the attempted espionage, the maximum sentence is confinement for life, with or without the possibility of parole, a dishonorable discharge, and total forfeiture of pay and allowances, she said. And to be fair, the previous leak things that we saw from the people that did leak that $15,000 worth of information over to the Chinese was actually a couple years in jail, and they were fined as well. So it's like they have a total net loss. They lost time, they've lost money. But let me give the context as to where this chief is located at. They say currently assigned to the Japan-based destroyer Higgins, Pettacini had been held in pretrial confinement since May, according to Navy records. Pettacini is accused of delivering a classified national defense document to a citizen, an employee of a foreign government, on November 22, 2022, in Hampton Roads, Virginia, and that the chief had, quotations, reasons to believe that it would be used to injury of the United States and advantage of a foreign nation, his charge sheet states. The charge sheet does not state which foreign national Pettacini allegedly worked with. I am confused on this because if he's on a destroyer that is based out of Japan but did this over in Hampton Roads in Norfolk, Virginia, was he maybe a temporary assigned duty? Was there something like that where he went on leave maybe to give these secrets? You know, they are not really saying much about this. You can tell they're trying to keep this hush-hush. I think because they don't want to mention the country, they don't want to mention the types of information other than just generalities. And I don't think much of the public is going to see any of this information other than knowing that this guy was actually charged with espionage, if that's the case here.
I did some research and it appears the ship did a home port shift to Japan from Norfolk, Virginia, which could explain this as well.
But the chief is also accused of delivering similar classified information to a foreign contact 7 other times, with the most recent alleged occurrence taking place on May 17th in Yokosuka, Japan. And that is where I have to get to this point where it's like, what is going on with the military not being able to keep secrets or information within its entity and not leaking this stuff, or what we would call spillage? There are various ways to get information. This is human intelligence. There's open source. There's all these ways that these people can obtain information, and this is kind of the easiest exploitation. And I will say that the fact that the Military Times is only able to get a photo of this person as an E5 rank for a job which escalates very quickly within the ranks, that it's known that they are very valuable and they have great knowledge and technical expertise, that they're shooting to the top to Chief Petty Officer. But let's be honest, that even though they shoot to the top and they make a bunch more money because of this, and the fact they're stationed overseas in Japan making even more money as well, it might not be enough to not sway people like this from selling secrets and things like that, which is why I think Congress should really look at pay raises and looking at ways to make sure that we are appropriately compensating service members for their technical skills, and on top of that, the information that they do possess. And I will say that if this person made Chief Petty Officer so fast, it might show that they have lack of trust, competence, and the maturity to be able to handle sensitive information like this. Now, it is not a secret that everybody on an annual basis gets a cybersecurity awareness training, and people make jokes about it every year, but the reason we go through that is because of things like this, where you see people make dumb mistakes for what I would say is the stupidest amount of money, where it's not even worth it for how much they have to lose on the line. And this guy could lose his entire livelihood for it. And my last thoughts on this are that you have a Chief Petty Officer which would have a great top-level view of what's going on. He will have been trained technically on the system, as well as being able to understand the ups and downs of what's going on. And I would say the fact that they are able to penetrate somebody at this rank with this much knowledge and this much skill is a big worrisome for people, and I think will continue to be a true concern for people. And I will say that obviously there are filters for trying to make sure that you report foreign entities that you report to or you talk with or whatever else to any kind of screening process for top secret clearance, or any kind of clearance for that matter, but especially for something like this. But I would say to you guys, do you think that the U.S. government should do a better job or more scrutinous screening process than they already do to filter out people like this Chief Petty Officer? Or do you think that the system in place here is appropriate already, and this is just one bad apple that we've seen along with these other people that leaked stuff only about a year or two ago? Let me know down in the comments below, because I do think this has been a problem several times a year that we've seen across submarines, across our weapon systems, across of just generalized information as well. Let me know down in the comments below. As always, if you guys like what I cover on this channel, hit me up over on Instagram, Snapchat, Twitter, TikTok, or down in the comments below. I love you guys. I'll see you next time.